Welcome to the Dopest Artist. We're here today to showcase an Atlanta-based photographer by the name of Truth, and I think he's going to give us some dope insight on the climate of the culture in the city and how he moves.
What up?
All right, so how'd you get from Anthony to Truth?
From Anthony to Truth? Oh man, I don't know, it's weird. It came from, I guess, a place in my life where I was probably 19, 20 years old. And it actually came from me playing a wrestling video game. And I needed to find a name for my character. And I just you need someone, I need someone who's the truth. Mm-hmm. So I just put Truth. And then I just kind of eventually I just just call me Truth. Just call me Truth. And then people start picking up with people. But thing is, with the persona, I'm a very honest individual. Sometimes too honest for some people, and it just kind of stuck. So it's it is who I am. I'm not gonna give you something that you can't use, or I'm not gonna fill you with some type of false premise. Now I'm gonna give you the real, so you can actually work off what's
how
there.
You see it.
Yeah.
So speaking on how you see things, how does Truth transfer into your most recent project?
With I Am Human ATL, this is one of the photos from the project. This is a guy named Larry. And Larry, there's an individual, he's a low-key hustler, but he's done a lot of things in his life. He's been to prison, he's gotten out of prison. He currently suffers from lung cancer. Oh. And surprisingly, man, I took this photo maybe 2 years ago, and he seems to be getting better every time I see him. And he's still out here. Let's say that. But with that being said, with this project, it wasn't about pity. My idea was not to make you cry at the end of this. It was make you to say, how can we do better? How could we as a people do better and understanding who we all are? Because it's growing up, especially here in Atlanta, you hear so many different attitudes on what homeless people are and how they got that way, and no one really sits there and asks, why are you the way you are? Yeah.
Often people project onto the homeless instead of accepting what's being presented to them.
So it's growing up in Atlanta, especially in old 4-4 there and all that stuff, I grew up around homeless people. So they were kind of a constant fixture in my life. And my mom being a pastor or a minister at the church that we're at on Boulevard, I will always see them. And every now and then we'll go out in the community and feed them, or we'll have them come to the church and we'll have plates for them. But then it got to the point where I would hear how people would talk about homeless people. Mm-hmm. And at some point, I wasn't the most favorable person to homeless people, because you hear enough, you kind of, I guess you get stuck in a groupthink type situation, and you have to pull yourself out of that shit and then kind of find your own opinion.
You kind of get a programming of what to already perceive this person as. You project the story onto them, and you're not ready to accept what's really in front of you.
Oh, he doesn't want to work, he doesn't want to do that, he doesn't want to blah, blah, blah. Nah, it's just not like that. You don't know what these people are going through. I'm gonna tell you like this, the biggest thing on the streets is mental illness. Yeah. That is the majority of the people on the street suffer from some type of mental illness. I remember one time I was interviewing a guy, and this young lady came up. She wouldn't make eye contact with neither one of us while I was interviewing him, but she would start removing her clothes. Wow. And she would pull up a shirt you want this, want that, and she'll be looking down the whole time. And when you tell her no, she'll just scream. She'll just scream. I'm talking about, these are one of the most terrifying moments in my life out there, because it was raining that day. I was under a bridge. Yeah. And that happened. I have my camera out, and I'm just I don't know what's about to go down. And and she finally walks away. Now, I've seen her so many times before. She never says a word to me. She looks at me, but she never says a word. I've spoken to her, how you doing? She just keeps on walking. But it's the first time she's ever spoke to me, and she was high, because she was definitely high. And she just kind of just went off a whole deep end. But within people who are using these drugs, you don't know what these people are running from mentally. You got people that have been raped, abused, both mentally and physically. You have people who believed in somebody who basically sold them a dream and wiped them the fuck out.
And
beyond that, it's not as simple. It's not black and white. Even though my photos are black and white, because I kind of want you to see what I see, the rawness, the contrast of everything that goes on in our world. Like, we see things as one way, and it just really isn't that way. You know, it's beyond the rainbow spectrum that we always see. It's beyond a lot of things we always see. So if this project is about sitting down and giving someone a chance to talk.
Okay.
Tell me your truth. Tell me what's going on in your life, and tell me how you got here. And you never know. You never know. I meet people with college degrees in economics, English, literature, master degrees, and guess what? They're on the streets. I've met talented artists. I've met talented musicians. There's this one dude. God, I don't know why I forget his name. I actually bought a CD off of him, but extremely talented.
Yeah.
Like, his family passed. I posted a picture of him, and his sister hit me up like, "Yo, is he okay?
Wow.
You know, is he eating right?" And at that time he wasn't. He was definitely hooked on heroin.
I mean,
he's doing good now.
It seems like the base core undertone to this project is mental health, and I think that's so relevant, so poignant to the culture right now, especially in African American community. It's something that we're just now getting around to talking about. What, out of your experiences with your family, your friends, and just yourself, what headspace did you get into to put yourself directly in an environment? You had nothing around you. You were completely raw in that environment, these people.
Well, in my case, I would have to say my continuing presence in that community. I'm a city kid. So I spent the majority of my life inside of the city. You know, even though my family moved out to the suburbs when I was younger, I went to school in the city. I went to church in the city. My grandparents live in the city. My cousins live in the city. So I was always around it. And me, I guess some people say I have a very, tender heart. And I guess it all kind of stems back to, I think I was like 8 or 9 years old. My mom still had like a blue Tracer, and we were leaving church. And I remember a homeless cat. He was probably no more than 23, 24, maybe 25 years old at the time. This was like 1995, 1996. And he goes up to one of the deacons. The deacon I don't like, and to me, he just wasn't a great individual. He was not an example of what you would want to be the face, be a pillar in your church. And the guy comes up to him and says, "Hey, you guys feeding today?" He says in a very soft voice, and he's just like, "Nah, we not. We not feeding today." He just walks away and gets in his big Escalade. He's a little short cat. Gets in his big old Escalade and drives off. Now, the messed up part about that day is that we were all going to a restaurant to eat.
Right.
So I'm in the back of the car just crying because I just couldn't believe that
you just canceled this
person out just because. And it's like, I didn't understand that at 8 years old. And my mom was like, "It's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay," but it's like, it wasn't okay.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. It was like.
And then the day continued on. You guys ate and maybe ate one more
I
time.
just remember this kid walking away, just like kind of doing that little antsy finger tap because he just like, wow, that kind of like, I don't know what to do after this.
Wow.
And I just, I grew up seeing them go through the trash, picking up cans, and some of the people, they're very, very nice people. Then you have some people who aren't very nice. But guess what? They're the same type of people that are in this world. I meet a lot of nice people who have homes and a lot of shitty people who have homes, who have wealth, who have control, who have power, and they're terrible people. They're people with no, their moral compass is so backwards. You couldn't believe that they even have such they have such things.
So with artwork that kind of pulls you in with no words, no subtext, it just kind of
there is words. Well,
explain.
So the greater part of the project is a book.
Okay.
It's going to come out as I Am Human, The Forgotten in Atlanta. So I interviewed probably like close to maybe 40 to 50 people for the book. And, I kind of like culled it down to about maybe 20 people, depending on the story and what I can make sure you guys see. Because again, I meet people who are mentally illness. I remember I talked to a dude one time and he was talking to a spaceship at the same time while he was talking to me.
No.
Like he was like, "Hold on real quick." He's like, "No, press that button. I'm sorry." And then he'll just come back into the conversation. He's just like, "Oh." and the sad part with that is that I was wondering like what's going on with that. Like, cause it's one of them situations where like, man, that dude's off his rocker, but what if he's part of some?
But what if?
You know, what if like, you got some Manchurian candidate implant?
And I think that might be the magic. That might be the X factor in what you do and how you're able to get some of the frames you get, is that you take a very empathetic, honest, raw approach to mental illness. It's almost like you don't do what that Deacon did. You don't cast it away as, oh, that's what the story is. I'm done. Let's go eat. It's more, okay, hold on. Let's unpack. Let's sit with this. Let's sit with this person. Let's unravel this story. You know.
And I guess with that, the hardest part about like getting people opening up is that I'm gonna tell you like this: you're gonna have a lot of people just give you straight garbage.
Yeah.
Like straight up, I'm just gonna make up anything. You know, because I do pay them. I do give them some type of money for their time, because I do believe if I take up your time, you get to spend this time doing whatever, picking up cans or whatever hustle you got going on. So I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to take up 15, 20 minutes of your time, I can pay you $5, $10 if you know.
Time matters,
so like, you know, I will go out on the street with 30 sometimes $40, and my idea was to come home with nothing. But come home with rolls of film, because for the majority of the project, like this frame right here, is shot on medium format film. I actually shot on this camera, to be exact. So it's, you know, it's a process, and that's why I shot it on film, because I wanted everything to be a process. I wanted to have some type of suffering in what I'm doing. So it's like, if I mess up, I messed up.
Yeah.
There is no coming back from that messed up. If I want to fix it, I have to go back and fix it myself, meaning I have to find this individual again. Because I've lost maybe two to three rolls of film developing my own film, because at that time I was in the infancy of my stage as far as learning how to do that stuff, especially mixing chemicals, doing everything right at the house, all that whatnot, getting the temperatures right. So I enjoy it because it's not instantaneous. Right. It comes with work. Right. And that's what I want to show.
And that process is the magic.
Yeah, so it's like everything about this project is doing work. It's doing your due diligence to actually, you know, capture something, present it to somebody, and not just say, I did this in a weekend.
So in the process, have you ever had to go and find someone again? I mean, because it's not like you have a phone number or anything for them.
Actually, I mean, you'd be surprised, dude.
Really?
You'd be surprised. I interviewed, I have one guy who, he's in, I think, Cleveland or Cincinnati now. His name is Kendrick. And I have a picture of him. That's probably one of my only few digital shots. Because I was inside of a Grady Tunnel, I think, in a cardboard house that he built inside of Grady Tunnel. It had light in there and everything. I don't know where that light came from now I think about it, but it was in there. And I took that picture, and he was like, hey, can you send me that? And I came back like maybe a day later to bring some food, and he was like, hey, and I showed him the picture that I took. He said, hey, can you send me that? I'm like, send it to you. You got an email? Man, this dude pulls out a PDF looking, not PDF, but a PDA one of them. It was bigger than my phone at the time. And I was like, he gave me his number and I sent it to him. And I realized I never interviewed him. So I just like on a whim contacted him. He still has the same number. So dude's up in Cincinnati or Cleveland. He's in Ohio in general. He's going back to school, engaged. Like last time I talked to him, he was getting dinner ready for his fiance before she came home. So he cooks and cleans. So he's actually removed himself from that. He's, you know, and that's another thing about this is that I have pictures of people who were homeless, still are homeless, and not homeless anymore, or experienced homelessness at a very temporary stage, but experienced it nonetheless. Wow. Because I mean, there's plenty of people around us that live in their cars, man. Yeah. You know, I know people that live in their cars, go home to an apartment with no lights, no water, no none of that. That to me is another level of homelessness. Yeah. Like you're just like removed. You're like one level removed from the street. Right. Right. And
so in his case, what kind of put him in that season of his life? What?
Kendrick?
Yeah.
Kendrick, I never got to interview him. Not yet. Because what it was is that when I was about to interview him, I was looking for a way to record the interview over the phone, but it cost me an arm and a leg. Yeah. So I actually ended up finding it through, I guess, doing the Google numbers, and which I think I had to call him. He had to call me. I forget how it goes. He has to call me, and then I can record it from a one-party consent. But I still get a two-party consent on his situation. But nonetheless, yeah. I mean, and then also another dude, Micah, not too long ago, I took a picture of him in the same place, in the same tunnel. A little smoking picture where, you know, a lot of people really like that photo. So I realized I had not talked to him. Now I run into Micah. I ran into Micah a lot. He has a girlfriend, wife, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is not all there. She's a little bit of mentally development, not there.
Yeah.
And she had actually gotten pregnant. She had a miscarriage, and I really didn't see him for a while. But anytime I would ask about him, people were like, "Oh, he's up and down this road." And I hit that road, and he don't be there. So one day I just like set out. I'm like, I'm gonna find that dude today. I know he's here. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. So I would go out with a organization called Mission Dogs. They're like UGA alumni. And they go out and feed homeless people. They get plenty of donations, clothing, all types of stuff. They even got a house up, I think, up in Marietta, in which they get all this stuff. And like, they even have rooms where I think some people can stay from time to time. So it's like they do a lot. It's definitely the beginning of good thing there. It's definitely room for improvement.
That sounds pretty cool.
Because like what my idea with just the book is to like raise some type of money, some type of funds. And the whole idea is if the book has some type of success, monetary success, I don't want to really make any money off of it. I'll take what I invested in it, which is close to $6,000. And then, between that, anything after that, like if I get a big success, I want to go into a trust. I want to be able to buy land, create a shelter, get,
Nice.
create stuff where they can form. Because the one thing about homelessness is that they don't give them opportunities.
Right.
They don't. If you don't have a house, you lose your opportunity on getting a job sometimes. If you can't clean your clothes every day, you lose your opportunity. If you lose your ID, to get your ID back is beyond, like it is ignorant on a level that you have to go through. Like they do not care about you. You have to find somebody who is sympathetic, and that may be one person out of the department of 20 that are actually going to care about doing their job the right way to get you what you need so you can get a job. I had one kid come down here from Tennessee, lost his ID the first night, came here to get a job at Coca-Cola to be a loader at the Coca-Cola factory. Lost his ID. Well, he didn't lose it. Somebody stole his bag from the shelter. It was Peach Street and Pine at the time. They closed it down since then. But he lost it the first night. So now he has to go through everything. He has to have his mama send his Social Security not Social Security, your birth certificate down so he can do that. And then you still got to go through a whole other level. Then you have to have a residence, all that stuff. So it keeps a lot of people from getting jobs.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these cats, and then I met one cat, he's mentally challenged. His name is Cyrus. This kid, or not kid, he's older than us. And he was working for a company in which he did door-to-door salesman. He was selling like either vacuum material or whatever vacuum, cleaning material. And he wasn't making no money. Because guess what? You have to buy all of that stuff before you sell it. It's a straight up pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
So a lot of people get caught in these ideas of, hey, you can make money this way.
Yeah.
But they just put you in a bigger hole. And then guess what? When you're in that hole, they're like, oh, you fell into the hole. Bye.
So, I mean, like, how do you feel about this capitalist society we live in? Because that's kind of sound like a through line. It's just almost like you got to pay to play to live here.
Oh, shit. I would say, man, it's hard. It's hard to really say that because it's kind of hard to really. I wouldn't know what to say because it's like you have your pros and cons, like any type of government system, where your pros and cons of socialism aren't the same pros and cons in a free market, in capitalism. You know, in socialism or communism, however you want to call it, everybody pretty much eats. Nobody goes without. Now
You're gonna eat what the government wants you to eat.
You're gonna eat what the government wants you to eat.
The
government issues straight up. You get rations. You go to Cuba, you have to get your food and stuff. You don't go to a supermarket. You go to whatever government center they have you go to, and you pick up your rations for the month. Now it guarantees you that you won't go hungry, especially if you ration out your food right. But at the same time, you can never have more than that.
Yeah.
In a free market, you can have more than what you need.
Right.
Which, for most people, is a problem. Because we live in a society in which we have all this stuff, and then we look at someone else and we have this, I got mine, get yours attitude. Right. And I remember that growing up. When we changed, I got mine, get yours. Like, what the hell does that even mean?
And then you say, well, I need something to get started with. Well, nobody gave me anything. Why should I give you anything? I've heard that before.
Because to me, I think, if you look at it closely, I got mine, you get yours is the same thing as racism.
Pretty much.
Because it's like, I'm on top already.
At the very least, it is a prejudice. It is
some level
a
of
dividing
prejudice.
line to saying that's them and this is us,
And you like, why are you hanging out with someone who doesn't have this or who can't do that? Like, the idea when someone tells you you shouldn't date somebody because they can't take you to freaking Cabo every fucking month is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it's ignorant. It's like you telling me you're willing to push away true emotion, true happiness this person gives you all because they can't take you somewhere. That's, we don't live in equality. We don't really care about equality. We want to cherry pick what is for us and then say you can't do all this other stuff.
So you think the load of this kind of classist
it's very classist.
Structure is kind of contributing to the large amount of the homeless population struggling with mental illness?
I would have to say yes. Yeah. In a sense where we are not allocating resources to where they need to go. We're talking about building $1 billion wall. And there's a lot of people who can't afford to live. Right. A lot of people who can't afford to get surgery, get the medication they need, get the proper food they need. Like, one thing I noticed on the streets with homelessness is that they do not have proper nutrition. How often can I give you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a Frito and one of them jug juices? No, man, you shouldn't be eating that. You need a freaking, you need something with greens. Right. You need something healthy. You need something that's going to revitalize your cells inside of your body so you can have a more sound body and mind. Because if you're not healthy physically, your mind
without a healthy gut, you can't think clearly. Exactly. That's kind of where subsidized lunches came into schools because it's
look at the Black Panthers back in the day. Like, they used to provide lunches for kids and they provided a better sustenance program for them. It wasn't until the school came in and ripped out everything they were so-called positively doing and say, all right, well, we'll give you some powdered eggs, no nutrition. We'll give you some sausage with pork casing from a kid from a pig that eats his own slop. And we'll say that's good enough. I mean, look at what government cheese is. That's no good. Anything government cheese? Are you kidding?
Like, that's barely edible. Barely edible.
To fry government cheese takes heat. Like, it takes really like ain't no heating lamp in McDonald's.
I feel like government cheese and Sunny D kind of go hand in hand.
Oh, it's very much
government cheese never melts, and Sunny D never gets cold. It's like, what is this made out of?
You can't freeze Sunny D.
The NASA created.
That'd be straight up snow. You can have Sunny D snow. That's the best you're gonna get.
But I mean, it's to get a little bit further onto your artwork.
Let me hit on one point.
Okay.
So with homelessness, like, it's reason why I have my ways about it is because you can go to India, which is not necessarily it's not a socialist country. It's more of a free market democracy. Now it's a huge gap there because you can go to the streets there and you'll see these millionaire, billionaire skyscrapers all around, but when you can see that from one view, but as soon as you move that frame down, you see all these homeless people in the streets. You smell it. You can see the people who are needing that, and it's the lack of infrastructure, the lack of caring about providing an infrastructure. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're a so-called politician, a so-called leader, and you're not doing anything to help the people who are hurting around you, then you are not doing your job. You're simply not doing your job. To me, you should not be a politician and a business owner.
So, I mean, with that, like, there's a grassroots kind of trend happening. I don't even want to call it a trend. I'm hoping it's a movement here to stay with the buy back the block. How much of that responsibility is beyond the politicians and more to the base of some of the, entertainers, some of the athletes, some of the local wealth in the community?
I'm gonna tell you like this. If there's one thing we haven't learned from Michael Jordan is that not everybody's a role model. Like, Michael Jordan is an extremely great basketball player. Some people call him the basketball god. Every year we have a new discussion comparing him to LeBron, or LeBron being compared to him, or whatever other great basketball player is. With that being said, what has he really contributed to the community? Other than being a good basketball player, inviting a few kids across the country.
And that's what I'm saying. Is it something culturally we need to lean more on each other and hold each other a little bit more accountable?
Well, here's the thing. And I learned this best, just from personal experience. Fuck having heroes. Do not have a hero. Because heroes will try to fuck your girl. Like, straight up. And that's merely just a metaphor of saying that you can think this person is good, they're great, but I guarantee you they got something
They're
bad about them.
Right.
Yeah, they're human.
They're
They
flawed.
got something about them that is going to turn you off from them. So don't even give them that type of pedestal. Don't put that space in your heart. To me, you are the change. You're the beginning of this. So if your idea of buying back the block is to say, hey, we need to be able to purchase this and buy these homes and make sure this community stays within a certain level of blackness, then that takes us as consumers, as purchasers. Now, we may say, hey, as an entertainer, hey, you got all this money, why aren't you doing this? Well, I'm gonna tell you like this, a lot of these entertainers don't have a whole bunch of money. They're not freaking filthy rich.
Yeah.
And if you are filthy rich, you're not spending all your money.
Right.
Like, Killer Mike is a millionaire. And he bought land, this and that, but he's not frivolous with it because he realized that money comes and money goes. So it's like within our community, we need to get first financially educated.
Yes.
We need to take classes over financial. We need to talk about classes about having a savings account, about investing our money.
To credit,
about, and then in high school, we need to teach our kids how to do their taxes.
Yes.
Fuck the Pythagorean theorem. It's not there. It's not doing nothing. If you're not a math major, why are you teaching me this? There's nothing I'm going to really be doing in the next 5 years that Pythagorean theorem is going to be helping me out with.
I agree.
I'm going to pay you this. So, I ain't got time for all the nonsense. It's like you have to be about action.
Yeah.
Action is action. And if you're just talking, but action is action. So, it's all about putting your money where your mouth is. Putting your time where your mouth is. If you say you can do it, then guess what? You need to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Stop saying this, stop saying that. We need all these people to come together. I'm gonna tell you, we do need community, but sometimes you have to be the start. I'm not saying I'm telling people stop looking up to people and just and be that change. Groupthink isn't always negative if it's in a positive direction. So we're all thinking, hey, for the betterment of our people, of our ethnicity, this is what it takes, and that's good.
Yeah.
But but stop listening to the poison. Stop ingesting the poison.
Yeah.
Stop saying, oh, we can't do this and this and that. Stop saying, the problem is that life is easy. In a sense where I wouldn't say easy, but it's easy to just be mediocre.
Yeah.
You can have a mediocre existence and somebody will say, oh, this is fine with me.
It's easy to be selfish.
Exactly.
Especially in this society where you can kind of live in a bubble. You can go to work, earn your little bit of funds, go home and keep a truck and say, I'm doing my part, I'm paying my taxes,
Exactly.
So I like to touch more back on what you were saying as far as how you approach each individual as an individual with that level of empathy, and paying for their time. On a small community level, how would you scale that?
I mean, it's basically providing, money for time, compensation for time, compensation for your time. And a lot of people aren't about that. Yeah. About giving, time is extremely expensive. And everybody time is money, and they're right. It is money. Instead of me sitting here and talking to someone, I could be out there trying to make money somewhere else. That could be my goal for the day, and that is my goal because unfortunately, we live in a world in which if you do not have any money, you will not be okay.
Yeah.
If you need medical attention and medical care, and you don't have money, Grady would do their best within their power, but guess what? If your lack of money, if your care exceeds whatever money that they can give you, you're not going to get taken care of.
We often see it with the elderly. They get to a certain point, and it's just like, we can't afford to give you this added care, so we're going to send you home with some pain pills. Good luck. It's unfortunate.
This is where I don't understand about, I guess being in America, because we live in a country where we have so many people who don't have health care, but then we go to another country, and say,
we want
to criticize and make fun of them. I'm like, but they take care of their citizens.
Yeah.
Like they went over to Libya and quote unquote liberated Libya.
Yeah.
I would have rather lived in Libya here any day. First of all, you didn't pay for college. You didn't pay for electricity. If you got married, he gave you $50,000 to start your life, to say, hey, this will be your first investment into buying you a home, getting you a place where you can start your life. He'll pay for your college. And then if you graduate from college and don't find a job, he pays you until you find you a job.
Wow.
But the thing is, you have to show that you're finding your job. America we have too many con artists here. Everybody's trying to get over. Everybody's trying to have this life.
It seems like opportunism is the name of the game. It's the, it's the
But the
skill
thing
you
is,
have.
with that opportunity, like, who are you hurting?
Right.
Because it's opportunity costs everything we do. So if, like, say if I went to you and said, hey, I have a job for you to do. Well, guess what? Someone else didn't get that job. There's someone else who could have used that money. Who probably needed that right now, and that would have been a blessing to them, but I gave it to you. So, like, that's the opportunity cost. So there's someone out there who needs something. And you choose to give to someone who already has in abundance. That's the problem.
Did you find yourself compensating outside of just money for time? Did you barter with any services or food?
Definitely. So when I didn't have like cash on me, I remember one time I brought like $30 out one time and I ran out of money. It was my fault. Because every now and then you get someone who will try to negotiate with you.
They saw a little wide.
I'm smarter than that. I remember one person when I started doing promo for the project, and I took a picture of the lady near downtown Atlanta or near underground Atlanta, and I said, I give you $1 for a photo. She was like, the other photographers give us $3, and I was like, well, I got $1. So, and she gladly took the money, posed a photo, looked very happy, and walked away. I mean, it's not saying that I should have gave her $3. Just saying like, this is what I have to allot towards you, because I want to make sure everybody gets something today. And unfortunately, that's what people don't like. Why couldn't you just pay them $3? I'm like, well, I want to be able to give these other people $1. Like, so if I have 5 people, I remember one time I was interviewing a few people, and I had $15 left, and that's $5 per person. So 3 other people show up. And I'm like, yo, we want to get interviewed. We want to get interviewed. We want to tell our story. And I'm looking at them like, only reason I kind of don't want to interview you guys because I would like to pay you guys for your time. I only have $15, so that's $5 a person. Only other way I could do that is if I split everybody's payment, and I don't want to do that to y'all. And they all looked at each other and said, we cool with that.
Wow.
Because
it was that important for their story to be heard.
It's that, and they're realizing that it's community.
Right.
They want everybody to eat.
Yeah.
And it's sad that you have to go to people who don't have a whole bunch to find that type of camaraderie.
Right.
To find that type of, I care about you enough to say, I will take a pay cut to make sure that you have something for your time as well. Instead of saying,
that is something
I got it, and I ain't giving up my money.
Yeah.
And
everybody's a rat race. Everybody's trying to get to the next class.
Everybody's trying to get the biggest
bracket.
chunk of cheese instead of realizing I don't need this much cheese. I can pass out.
I need everybody to eat. Yeah, and that's something that's common you see in a lot of big cities. You're starting to see it a lot more in Atlanta, which is, to me, is new. I mean, both of us born and raised here, where somewhere like DC, you will see $1 million brownstone, walk up, and then 2 doors down, it's a shack. It's like a crack house or something. It's crazy.
I mean, Atlanta's like that.
Exactly, it's becoming that way, and Atlanta's always had its bad neighborhoods. Don't get me wrong.
The thing is, only Atlanta's like that is because they started gentrification in one area.
Exactly.
Slowly, look at Portland.
Like the proximity of this bad area wasn't so close. It was very segregated, which I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I find it strange that you can exist in this, lavish home, and then right next door, right across the street, there's something that's been burned down, and the owners are completely delinquent on it, and it's just.
I don't know if you remember back in this. I think you remember the Get Down.
Yeah.
So part of the Get Down was they were showing a lot of buildings burning down.
Yeah.
So that was insurance. That was all about getting someone to set someone's building on fire.
Right.
Building goes down, insurance claim, insurance fraud. I get paid. I can start all over. So I'm not saying that's what people do here, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I
wouldn't be surprised if you have an abandoned house that's been sitting there for, 6 or 7 years. I'm like, man, we need to get this stuff off our credit, or I'm tired of paying sales taxes on this. I want to sell the land, and I can't get rid of these squatters. Bam, set a fire, they're out of there. I got, somebody be like, hey, this land is primo. They're going to rip down the house anyway. So,
So in these gentrified situations, I don't know, did you ever source any of the photos, the subjects that you took photos of in these kind of gentrified neighborhoods, and they were kind of in the cracks?
Yeah, definitely. This is on Edgewood, 044. Okay. This is like, this picture was taken right in front of a place called Sound Table. There's Space 2.
Right.
Which is on Edgewood and Boulevard intersection. Matter of fact, majority of my photos, when I had my art show, which was on Edgewood, I did it in an area where there are crack dealers.
Yeah.
Like if you go like if you're right here, here's the gallery, and you walk maybe like 500 feet, there's somebody standing there selling crack. Matter of fact, I remember that night somebody was in the alley right across the street from me. You can see the lighter, and I love that.
Yeah.
I wanted you like I didn't want to be just a regular art show in which you just, oh man, yo, these some dope pictures, this and that. Yo, this is a great experience. No, I wanted the experience to start the moment you got out the car.
That was a dope show. It was very grounded, very, very real. I love the vibe of that show. And then there was a grocery cart in the center.
Yeah, a shopping cart?
A shopping cart.
Yeah.
And it was filled with a bunch of things and was scattered about. And you know, and I couldn't tell if this is authentic or is this like
what I did with that is I got to the place early and I went down to the little park where it's like a little park between Auburn Avenue and Edgewood, like the streets. So it's like a little park right there. So I went up there and I was like, hey guys, I just kind of found someone who had a shopping cart. And you know, I just looked at the shopping cart. So I was like, hey, can I use one of your shopping carts for a show? And I'm like, I'll give you $10. I give you $5 now for deliverance and $5 upon when you come pick it up. To make sure they come and get it, because you ain't leaving it with me.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, but before we end this, what's next? What's next for Truth? What stories you want to tell next?
We wrapping up this within the next month. Hopefully be done with that with the editor and all that whatnot. My next project, right now the working title for it is Deceptive Roller Coasters.
Okay.
And it's I would call it like a society-based project. My idea is to kind of slap you in the face with societal, not so much societal norms, but what you skip over.
Right.
Like to me, I'm going to talk about infidelity. I'm going to talk about scamming. I'm going to talk about things that people do to each other, one another, and think it's okay. Or they find it, you know, they'll find some reason.
This city is full of
jam-packed with that.
It's jam-packed with the scammers and the cheaters.
The hustlers.
Yeah.
What's that Killer Mike song? Lie, steal, kill. Everybody's doing it.
It's getting a little out of hand because I feel like it's becoming just an accepted part of our culture, and it's just
that's what it is. And we have come to the point where we're okay with Sodom and Gomorrah now, even though we quote unquote like I'm not a Christian,
right?
You know, I believe in a universal presence, but I wouldn't, you know, if you want to call it God, it's up to you. I wouldn't always call it that, you know, the universe. To me, is that we get to the point where everybody believes something different, so they go by something different. So there's one person, like a person who is devoid of religion is not a bad person. It's not necessarily a bad person. If anything, they could have better moral standards than you. Like there could be an atheist who never cheats on his wife, and he doesn't believe in cheating on his wife. And on the flip side of that, you got a pastor who's leading a large congregation, and he's having sex with 3 of the treasurers.
Yes, these are facts. Also, very, very abundant here in this city.
So it's like, I'm here to kind of slap you with what you thought was, and that's bringing out the truth and what we really are. I want you to be not someone's afraid, but be like, look at yourself, like really look at yourself and realize that all the progress you thought you made or the progress that you're saying you're making, you're not making. Like this shit requires some real work.
Some real work.
Like to not do bad in this world requires work. It is so easy to scam somebody. It's so easy to cheat somebody. It's so easy to kill, steal at will. It's so easy to do all of that.
But it's hard to be present.
It's hard to be
engage,
present.
to be empathetic.
Empathetic.
Well, that's dope, man.
For shizzle.